Right now, Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome into the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. I'm your host tonight, Cassidy Wood. Man, what a fun-filled day at OTAs this week. I had the pleasure of being out there all week long and a whole day today. Thankfully, we didn't get rained on as much as yesterday. But hey, it was really awesome to get out there and see these new guys. It's the first time these draft picks, the trade acquisitions, and these returning players are getting a chance to practice together. And we'll dive into everything that kind of happened this week. And yeah, we'll just kind of get right into it. Remember to give us a call tonight, 412-575-2600. And yeah, so starting with what kind of everybody's been talking about, TJ Watt. And I think I'm going to be joined alongside here, Chris Mueller here pretty soon. There he is. Hey, Chris. I was like, I know I'm not alone tonight.
Cassidy, do I detect a slight note of sarcasm in your tone about OTAs? Because if I do, I would like to say for the record that I think you've got it right. You have the appropriate level of jaded cynicism about guys basically jogging around at 75% speed without actually wearing pads. I would just like to stress that I am on your side if that is in fact the tone that I accurately detected here.
You know, Mosey, I will say, like, yes, to an extent. Also, obviously, DK not out there, TJ not out there, Aaron Rodgers still not here if he is coming here. So, you know, we're still kind of in a wait-and-see mode right now. But, hey, it's the first time we've seen any sort of physical football type, not physical, but football type activity in months. So playing devil's advocate here, I've very much enjoyed my time over there. I mean, and look, the Pirates, we've been covering them for months now. It hasn't been great. 19 unanswered runs in 2 games. That's fantastic. That's an anomaly. I mean, hasn't been happening. So even though it's kind of a mess over on the south side right now at Steelers HQ, it's still, hey, more fun to cover than what the Buccos have been as of late, I would say. So, you know, at least you got some drama.
I will tell you what, as far as OTAs go, a couple things that, you know, to the extent that I am capable in my jaded old age of paying much heed to what happens over there, I think things that caught my eye or people who I've talked to who have said things that have kind of, piqued my interest. We hear a couple of things about Broderick Jones. One, obviously, we know that he's moved back over to the left side, his natural position, the position they drafted him to play. I'm not going to go into detail about how much they've butchered that situation through his first 2 years. Everybody kind of knows my hobby horse opinion there because I said he'd be the best left tackle in franchise history. He's only now going to actually get a chance to do that. But the fact that he came in 20 to 25 pounds lighter than he played last year, I thought was noteworthy, and not necessarily in a good way, because that suggests that he was really struggling to kind of make the adjustment to the pros. You've got to take better care of your body. You can't just win on being way more talented and athletic than the guy across from you, like he probably could a lot of the time at Georgia. I would hope, though, that the 20 pounds lost sort of signifies not only a leaner, meaner Broderick Jones, but also a guy who in year 3 is taking very seriously, Cassidy, the opportunity that is now in front of him to actually show everybody, including the people who drafted him, why they drafted him. So I think that's noteworthy. And then Caleb Johnson, I think, is kind of the other guy because you actually get to see the running backs like put the ball in their hands and sort of do football-looking stuff that you can actually project out. I mean, is he going to be better than Najee Harris 2.0? Because I think the skeptics would say they went for a guy who doesn't have, you know, home run hitter speed necessarily. He's maybe a little more explosive than Harris was, but they didn't really give people what they wanted when they drafted a running back here, when people were clamoring for a guy who could hit more long runs. So I think he's going to be somebody I watch very closely as well through this portion of the offseason that is not training camp.
Yeah, let's stick with that O-line, though. So Broderick, you know, needless to say, he lost us a couple games last year. Lost the Steelers a couple games last year. I think that's pretty obvious. Too many personal fouls. It was not okay. He had to make that move because of Troy. Now, Troy Fautanu, I got a chance to talk to him yesterday. I am so hyped about this guy. Like, I really, really hope he lives up to the hype. And it is kind of like we're getting an extra first-round draft pick this year. And just his mentals right now and the way he had to handle all of it last year, the ebbs and the flows. I mean, there were several times last year he thought that he might be coming back, and he just wasn't. And so having to mentally deal with that, the ebbs and flows of that. And he said, you know, he really struggled with focusing on the day-to-day. Being a rookie coming in here, you're always worried that your spot is going to get taken if you're not there and you're not productive day in and day out. So, I mean, for a large part of that, he was really worried about his future here in Pittsburgh, but he was able to kind of hone in on the day-to-day and just mentally day-to-day check himself in. And I just think he is such a well-rounded guy and a well-rounded player. And I just really am hopeful that his production on the field is as solid as what it seemed like off the field, because I'm really high on this guy. And if everything can work out how we're kind of watching it kind of develop right now on that offensive line, I'm really hoping they'll be much stronger than they've been in recent years. I mean, we know that that's been a weakness. That's where Tomlin and Omar Khan and everybody poured all of their resources into last year in the draft. So I am really hoping that they show out this upcoming season. Otherwise, pretty much last year's draft is kind of a wash. So, you know, I'm really hopeful on that. Now with the running backs, Caleb Johnson, yes, I really like that guy. I think for coming in as a rookie, only being here a couple days, you know, rookie minicamp now he's really taken control of that room. And, you know, I mean, it's a lot of guys that
still Jalen Warren out there, though. I think it's going to be.
Well,
I think the thing to watch there is the job share.
Yeah. So I mean, he does have the vets. Yeah.
Well, I think the thing with him is, like, in a perfect world, you would want sort of a true 50-50 split, because I think Warren has shown that explosive capacity at that position, and you'd hope that Johnson just gives them a little bit more reliable. Well, Harris was pretty reliable in the passing game. I shouldn't say that, but is a guy whose passing game work projects well to the pros. They obviously didn't really know what the forward pass was at Iowa for pretty much all of his time there. That's that Kirk Ferentz ball we all know and hate if we watch Big Ten football. So you hope it projects well to the pros. I think his pass protection, you know, this is a cliche that a guy like Mike Tomlin will fall back on, Arthur Smith will fall back on, but if the pass protection, is on point, then I think he's going to have plenty healthy reps share here. I think the guy's going to probably get 60-40. I think they'd like to keep Warren fresh.
Yeah.
They feel like maybe less is more with Jalen Warren, as far as, you know, if we get him 40-45% of the touches, he's going to be better than if he's taken 65%. One note on Fautanu, one thing to think about.
Yeah.
He's older than Broderick Jones.
Which is crazy,
He is older
but true.
than Broderick Jones. So just think about that. Like, I mean, they need that line, just to put a fine point on it, Cassidy. They need that line to be a line that looks like it has Sayamalu, a big high-priced veteran, a second-rounder, a pair of bookend first-rounders, and then a mauler in Mason McCormick. Because if they don't get that version of the offensive line, then everything else that they've been building to doesn't really matter. And as you put it, the drafts of the past couple of years look a lot worse in the rearview mirror if that line isn't really good.
Yeah, I agree with you. And with Jalen Warren, too, I mean, when Najee left, the first thing I said is Jalen Warren is not an every down back. We got to get someone in here. He's not going to be able to sustain that. So I am glad we got Kenneth Gainwell in here. We got a chance to talk to him today for the first time. And, you know, he's excited for the opportunity that's here. So we'll see kind of how that group also pans out. But, guys, we got to take our first break. Give us a call, 412-575-2600. We want to hear from you guys. Welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. This is your Xfinity tweet of the night from the MLB. Paul Skeens turns 23 today. He has the second lowest ERA before his 23rd birthday, just one behind, 1913-14. Dutch Leonard, I don't know if you guys remember him, beast of an arm. Shout out Paul Skeens, though. Happy birthday. I know at 23, I did not have those accolades, so shout out him.
At 23, I was trying to get my life together, Cassidy. I'm surprised that Dutch Leonard, by the way, is like a relatively normal name. I'm surprised it wasn't something like Tungsten Arm O'Doyle that he was trailing there. You know, like names that you'll never hear again because people stopped naming their kids that in the 1930s or something like that. He is just spectacular, and we talked about this on the PM team today, so I'm going to hijack this for a second.
Yeah,
as great as he has been for his first year plus in the major leagues, at basically, 21 and 22 years old now, Sidney Crosby was a scoring champion and the league MVP at the age of 19 for the Penguins. Just to put in perspective how absurd it is that we have gotten 20 seasons of Sidney Crosby and he has not downticked really at all at any point. when he was 19. Couldn't buy a drink legally in this country for 2 more years. He was a scoring champ and an MVP of the league, which is just on Skeens' birthday and thinking about young, precocious Pittsburgh athletes. Crosby still incredibly is tops in his class with that.
Yeah, I mean, so impressive. And hey, shout out the offense for actually being able to score some runs the past 2 days and back him up. So that was exciting. All right, let's hit the phone lines. We have a lot of people calling in. Greg from Mount Lebo, he wants to talk Steelers. Greg, what's going on?
Love to talk Steelers. Thanks for taking my call. Before we talk Steelers, though, the only reason we are in May is because the Pirates are so bad. That's a whole nother story. But I did want to call in and just touch on how bad the state of the organization is in. We're waiting on a 41-year-old quarterback. We're waiting to see if a $40 million edge rusher is going to sign for $40 million. I'm tired. I'm upset. I think I speak for a lot of Steelers fans. I want to get your take on the state of the franchise.
Well, obviously, there's been a quarterback issue for a while now. And look, I think what's very promising is next year we do have all those the Steelers have all those draft picks. I got to stop that. The Steelers have all those draft picks next year. And so, you know, maybe they can rebuild next year. I think it's ridiculous that the saga with Aaron Rodgers has gone on for this long. I've said it for what feels like months now. I think you just give the reins to Mason Rudolph.
It doesn't feel like
point.
months, Cassidy. It has been months. It has been months because this started on like March 17th. This was the St. Patrick's Day things. The new league year started on March 13th, and within a week, we were doing the Aaron Rodgers dance. Like,
that's right.
The call got me fired up because, like, state of the franchise is this. They are adrift in the NFL because they don't have a quarterback. They have a head coach that I think even the most ardent national backers in the media are starting to like question more loudly and more frequently than they ever have, and rightly so, because yes, Mike Tomlin has never had a losing season. Yes, Mike Tomlin seems to get like more than you would expect out of somewhat mediocre groups, and they never quit on him. But he is largely responsible for putting together those mediocre groups that have flaws. And he has shown zero aptitude when it comes to properly identifying and then like bringing along, nurturing, whatever you want to call it, a quarterback. And so if you don't have that position, you don't have much, and they don't have it. So I can echo the frustrations of caller Greg there. State of the franchise, not great.
Well, especially in such a quarterback-driven league, and in the AFC North Division alone, that the quarterbacks you're going up against, you're just not going to win football games off Boswell's toe. It's just not going to happen. So you need to get a quarterback in here, and I hate to say it. I don't hate to say it because I do believe it. I think they need to give the reins to Mason Rudolph and just run with that this year. I think bringing Aaron Rodgers in is going to be a huge mistake, honestly. I think it's going to distract from everything, create a lot of drama. I think, tensions are going to be really high over there if he comes in. I just think it's an all-around bad idea, to be
Cassidy,
honest.
you were down there, though. I mean, don't guys already seem, to your reckoning, like when they're talking in scrums and they're getting asked about Aaron Rodgers, because understandably, that's still the big story. I'm willing to bet that there's already a couple guys who aren't like getting mad about it per se, but they're probably rolling their eyes a little bit.
Well, and
they're
that's
just
what's
kind of
scary,
sick of talking
honestly.
about it already.
Yeah, well, and that's what's scary with these guys. It's gone to the point where the immediate answer that they always give you is, hey, whoever's under center, whoever's back there, we're going to protect for them. We're going to play hard for them. So it almost comes across like they don't care who's back there at this point.
I don't think, at this point, they probably shouldn't, because there's probably a game of difference. I mean, I think Rodgers is better than Mason Rudolph, but I think only a matter of degree. And here's the other thing. I keep saying this, so I'm going to sound like a broken record. If you've heard me on this sports call any number of times in the past several weeks, you've heard me say it. If Aaron Rodgers thought the Steelers were like a great destination, he would be here now. He would have actually signed. Like, I don't think he would be doing the song and dance here where it's personal issues. Oh, by the way, I haven't sewn those up yet, but I'm also going to concerts, and I'm doing 3-hour long-form podcasts and this and that. I think it's very, very obvious to anybody that knows anything about Rodgers and anybody that follows the NFL at large that he wanted to go to one place. He wanted to go to Minnesota. He wanted to complete the weird Brett Favre mirror career arc. And he wanted, more importantly, to go play for a guy in Kevin O'Connell who turned Sam Darnold into a mega contract quarterback. What, a $35, $40 million quarterback over the year. So he doesn't want to be here, I don't think, unless it's the only option left to him. And I think that is a major reason, if not the exclusive reason, why he is still not signed with the Steelers, because I think in his perfect world, he wouldn't have to.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, if your teammates are getting to the point where they have to say they don't care who's throwing the ball or who's under center, I mean, that's a huge issue, especially, again, in a league that's so quarterback driven and in a division where you're going up against the quarterbacks you're going up against. I mean, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, who knows who it's going to be
Josh
in Cleveland.
Allen, Patrick Mahomes,
yeah.
Justin Herbert.
I mean, and the
you've
AFC
got an
as a
MVP.
whole. Yeah.
You've got a two-time MVP and probably one of the 3 or 4 best quarterbacks in the league, and those are 2 separate people in your own division 4 times a year, and that's not even getting to the guy that's still the alpha dog of the league or still the defending MVP now in Josh Allen, or Justin Herbert, who's talented, or Bo Nix, who looked pretty good in year 1. I mean, I could go on and on here, and that's just in their own conference. I didn't even mention C.J. Stroud. Oh, wait, I just did.
Yeah, I mean, it's bad. They got to figure out that position. Guys, remember to scan your phone up there on the QR code, our Xfinity question of the night. How long would you sign TJ Watt for? Would you extend him 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or 4+? I do think with his age now, 4+ is a little concerning. Wouldn't go that far out. But, I mean, look, JJ, it's hard not to compare his career to his brothers because it does seem very similar. Their play style is very similar. How they attack it is very similar. And, I do think we've maybe hit the peak with TJ at this point. I would say maybe maybe 4 years max at this point. Definitely not 2 years. I think more than that. But what do you think, Moles?
Option D, they should have tried to trade him before last season because you don't pay peak money for less than peak performance if you can help it. That's cold, hard business in the NFL. I would have tried to trade him before last season. Hell, I'd still be interested in trading him before this season.
Yeah, I agree with you, honestly. All right, guys, we're going to head to another break. Give us a call, 412-575-2600. We want to hear from you guys.